this again. See if this is working. Is this working? I'm in the wrong way. I don't know. Oh, hello, Internet. Nice to see you again. Got some green grass growing and some fields that have been seeded with new hay, I guess, or whatever crop they're growing this year if it's not hay. Well, usually it seems to be hay. And the green grass, never mind the pollution. The random litter people throw into the water, well, they throw into the side here, or it just falls into the wayside when they drop it. All this new green provides ample sustenance for the little critters that live down in that bog and the sod. And the little birds get to eat the seeds on the fields. Anyway, I want to talk about big ideas. What to do when you have them, or you're presented with them as a thing you are assigned to work on if you work for some company or some client, or if some investor approaches you with new big ideas, or somebody approaches you as an investor into their big idea. What exactly is the thing to do about big ideas? Well, big ideas are a dime a dozen. They're about worth the thought that you put into thinking of them. What makes them have real value is turning them from ideas into reality. And that's why certain things like patents and trademarks, while they can be very valuable, are important to secure for big ideas that you want to actually turn into something real. It's also the same reason that many of them never generate any value, because they are poorly executed. The carry through, the follow through isn't done properly, and they're never turned into reality. And eventually they expire and either become things people forget about, or things someone else may exploit once they're in the public domain. But the point of having big ideas, other than the mental exercise of thinking of things that are larger than the person who thinks of them, and that may have an impact that is significant to millions or potentially billions of people, the important thing to do is, as I said, the follow-through. Without the follow-through, without creating something real that can be measured in a way that demonstrates significant impact, that converts into significant value for whoever the intended value recipient is. Without that follow-through, you've got bupkis, zilch, nada, nothing. And that is precisely why, even though a lot of companies ask other companies to sign NDAs on ideas that they share, very often companies that get information about certain ideas unfortunately don't respect even the NDAs that they sign, because they'll tell you things like, either they don't sign them because ideas are a dime a dozen, or they will tell you that your idea isn't as unique as you think it is, and that they may have heard something similar before, even if you know they haven't. And it's a practice commonly found in even some of the biggest companies. I can tell you that many years ago, some decades ago actually, at the very early days of the world's biggest online retailer, Amazon, when they were still just a nascent company, they refused to sign an NDA that I sent them because of exactly that reason. And by the way, I don't mean to single them out or pick on them. There are many such examples that I could share, and that did exactly the same thing. They would be, because they were big relatively to the size of the company that I was working for, or my own company or whatever. They were relatively bigger, and so they would basically disrespect the little guy by not agreeing to sign an NDA, and basically claiming that any information they received, including investment proposals or other ideas for new product, etc., would not have an NDA assigned to them.
Second time.
Yeah. And this is something I think is very telling of the whole tech industry in Silicon Valley, especially starting back in the 80s, but really in the 90s, because I believe it's an infectious disease across Silicon Valley and similar tech hubs around the world, where the large companies do not often appreciate the innovations of new startups because they're scared of the competitive threat of a new player, even if it's a one-man band or a small company with less than 10 or 50 or 100 employees. And it happens all the time. And that's why if you run a startup or an SMB and you have new ideas and big ideas, you have to be extremely careful with whom you share those ideas, especially if your tech or your invention or your innovation has a relatively low barrier to entry, but the strategic advantage of the first mover, right? The first mover advantage makes the difference. And if you happen to be such a firm that does have a strategic first mover advantage, you better make sure you get your first mover advantage in play before you approach anybody, to make sure that they cannot just get a leg up on you by starting a clone of your model almost immediately because they have significantly more resources than you. So, yeah, keep that in mind and make sure you carry through with the appropriate and necessary follow through on your big ideas, as that will inevitably help you on your goals or in your goals or to reach your goals. Because again, it is critical that your ideas have that follow through, because if they don't, then you're very likely to see your ideas turn to mush or just evaporate as time runs out on your ability, whether it's your business's runway or your trademark runway or the remaining time on your patent, whatever it is. You need to make sure you exploit your advantages early and often, and not sit around idly and let time pass you by. And rather than becoming an asset where time is on your side, it becomes a liability where time, you're in a race against time. You don't want to be in a race against time. You want to make sure you make those advantageous moves as soon as possible. That way you will be able to maximize the impact of the opportunity that presents itself to you and to your innovative ideas. And that is that. So anyway, folks, take care. Happy trading, happy marketing, happy big thinking. Make it real. See ya.